I'm going to tell you a little bit today about how I mounted a 35-inch spare tire in the back of my 99 Cherokee here, XJ. So yeah, let's get started. Here's the back of my Jeep. I've pulled out the carpet, so it's back just down to the metal. You could probably do this mod with carpet left in place, but I just decided to take it out because I'm probably going to plan on rhino lining the inside of this anyway. So first step, take out the carpet and we'll keep going. Okay, so here's the hardware you're going to need for this spare tire carrier. What I've got here is it's a piece of 3/16 flat steel. Drilled up 1/2-inch holes. The spacing on that I'll talk about a little bit later. Here's just some 16th gauge steel, some 3/16 bolts and nuts, a little bit longer 3/16 bolts and nuts. Also I had a washer and a lock washer, and then some larger hardware here. This is mainly what holds the tire on, and then I have another plate here on the back, mounting plate for the spare tire. And if you look on this, here I'll show you. So there's a process to follow when building this to get the bolt mounted in there. So first what I did was I cut this piece out of 3/16 steel, and this piece drilled a hole in the middle of it where you see this bolt coming through. I took that and I slid the bolt in and I welded it on the back side. So I welded it, before I welded it onto this piece, I welded it on the back side of this, but I welded it on the inside here as well. And then, once I did that, this whole assembly I put onto the tube steel here. So this is just an open piece of tube steel. I placed this on, welded it around, and then I tied this all back into the main frame. So, sorry I don't have a video on that. If I had thought of this earlier, I would have done that, but figured this would probably be helpful for you guys. So first step after you pull the carpet out is you've got to be able to locate where you want this bracket to sit across here. This is pretty thin sheet steel for the body for this wheel well here. And so what I did was I just took a 1/2-inch drill bit and drilled out 4 holes. Roughly, sorry I don't have my tape measure on me, I'm not sure where it is, 2 inches by 4 inches. Gave me a nice rectangular measurement there. And so I did this on either side, drilled out 4 holes. And the reason I located it here was I wanted it to be sitting on top of the wheel well. I wanted it pushed back as far as I could, but I also wanted to allow for the rear seat to come back up again. We'll show you what it looks like on the inside of the wheel well now. Okay, so here we are in the wheel well, and you can see I've got the 4 holes. You saw that plate steel and the more sheet metal that I had. So the intent of it is to create a big washer. I want more surface area to just to spread out the load from the tire above, and I wanted this to bite on more sheet metal so I wouldn't have as much of an issue. So this is the first plate that went down, and then the beefier plate, and then I just take the bolts and run them through. Okay. Just positioning up the bolts. Let's get the other 2. Okay. This would probably be a little bit harder if you got a 2-door XJ. You just have to have somebody else help you. So line it up and get these bolts started on the inside, or they're not started on the inside. I drilled out these holes a little bit larger, and I was going to seal them up before I put the bolts in, but I actually haven't had any issue with any. I mean, I tightened them down so tight that I haven't had any issue with water or anything coming on the inside. I haven't gone through a lot of big water crossings or anything yet, but this seems to work out pretty good. So let me tighten them down and I'll show you the next step. Just wanted to give you an idea now how close the seat comes to the back of this thing when I close it up. Again, the intent was that I get as much cargo space as possible, but still be able to put the spare tire in here. So you can see as it gets close, I haven't latched it yet, but it's kind of lining right up the base there. And then you can see right along here, I've got just a little bit, so let me just click it in place. You can see it locks right in place. It's just barely resting up against it, but it's still able to lock in. And I've got hardly anything right in between there, so it actually gives it a little more support. I put my kids' car seats in here. It didn't move around as much, which I actually kind of liked. So once it locked in place, it feels a little better now that I've got a little more support, even with that thing in there. So let me just show you one more time. It's nice and close, locks right in place. Okay, now I just got to get the spare tire in here. This is the best part. Here we go. Yeah. So you can see it just barely clears. I think it helps with the carpet out, but you know, I've got it cleared through there, so no big deal. Just rolls right up on in. Slide it back in where it needs to go. Again, helps to not have the carpet in there. And then all I got to do is put this guy on. So you remember this from your spare tire carrier, the stock deal. I actually mount it the other way. I mount it so it's flat on the wheel itself. That worked out pretty good. Then I mount the flat washer, and then the lock washer, and then my nut. Okay, so that's it. So, there you go, spare tire mounted inside. It's locked down nice and tight. I can still move the seat back and forth, and plus I get all this cargo space. But if you're paying attention, there's one thing still missing from our parts list. What do you think this thing's for? Well, I've got a high lift jack, and I wanted a place to mount it, and I figured I've got an XJ. I got a little bit wider than the typical Wrangler guys do, so I could probably put that high lift right in the back here. So let me show you how I put that, and I'll have to pull the tire out again though. Probably should have thought of that before I get started. Okay, spare tire out again. We get the spare tire mount in, and if you'll notice, right here, I've drilled a hole. And what that's for, I think I forgot, there it is. What that's for is for mounting my high lift jack. So I just drilled one hole, and then on the other side, the way that the high lift jack kind of, the foot of it looks, it was able to kind of lock itself in with just this one bolt. I didn't want to have multiple bolts, so I want to be able to pull this out. So I was going to weld this in place, but I thought it would be nice to not have it there all the time. So we just slide it through, just like that. I just got to get this high lift jack in here. Line it up like so. Just like that. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Dang it. Okay, well, as you can probably tell, I put that in backwards. Let me show you how it actually is supposed to go in. Being the designer of it, I should probably have figured out how to put it in, but let me show you how it goes in. So, if you want a 35-inch spare in the back of your XJ, this is how you can do it. This is one way. It's the way I did it. You still got room in the back here for some spare parts, some tools. Whatever you want to use. So, sorry, it's getting a little warm out here tonight, but wanted to make this video for you guys so you could check it out. And if you like this, go ahead and like the video, and we'll catch you guys later.